Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, March 13th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Thursday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. PPI data out right now. Core PPI data and initial jobless claims all out just in the last few seconds here. Initially, a small little pop to the upside, not quite like the previous session here. The previous session, we were watching the previous high right here for signs of a rejection after the CPI data release for a rotation back into the current downtrend. That's still the game plan right now with a very highly bearish trend in play. This market continues to see failed new highs and continues to work lower in a very steady and aggressive price discovery phase. And more downside could still be ahead. We lack a strong low right now. We lack any kind of capitulation event. And until we get something like that, we're going to continue to work our way downward. Now, the longer we go without finding a very strong low, the more the likelihood could be of a multi-month correction here. Any bounce could be a selling opportunity for the next time around as this thing continue to extend into April. So we could have multiple months of weakness here if we don't find a strong low soon. So again, keeping an eye on these markets for a potential capitulation event or a strong, super strong low. For example, this was a capitulation event here last August 5th. We had strong lows that developed after it here, and this market rotated well off those lows. So again, can we do something like that again? Until then, every bounce likely a selling opportunity until proven otherwise. Currently, narrow range day, inside day, still a downward focus. We do have a 3-day range that's been developing here, 3-day compression, parts of 4 days. That compression right there with a downward bias could unleash a ton of energy up ahead, which again likely is to the downside. We take a look here at the NQ. Similar price action here in the NQ, a little bit of a pop after PPI data release. By the way, PPI coming in, let's see right here, 0.0% versus a 0.3% on the month-over-month reading. Core PPI coming in negative 0.1 versus 0.3%. And then initial jobless claims coming in 220K versus 226K estimate. Previous is revised to 222K. Alright, so right now the NQ still trending downward, very similar to the ES. Inside day, downward bias. Any pullback could still be a selling opportunity, and you can see how bearish the 8-period average continues to drop here. Very aggressive slope and slant on that 8-period. Again, more downside could easily be ahead until we see that strong lower capitulation event, and this is when you start opening up the downside to these prior pivot lows here, which could take you down as low as that 17.5 level down below. We're still trading 19.5, so do we get another couple of thousand points of selling pressure up ahead? Alright, looking at crude oil down 0.5% right now. This one's still trading in the 67 zone. Again, very strong reaction here in the 65.20s. 3 major pivot lows right in that extreme, and so far holding. Very clear downward bias still in play, but holding that edge right now. Something's got to give sooner than later here. Now perhaps the full-on bounce here to the upside doesn't necessarily play out right away here. Maybe we go one more leg and then reject here, but we're getting closer to the end of this down move than we have this entire way so far. So getting closer to the edge here. At some point, the expectation is for a snapback toward the 72 level, and then after that, a rotation to 78 to 80 heading into 4th of July. That's the expectation right now, but again, still waiting for very strong signs of this trend being over. Until then, this bounce right here could lead to another selling opportunity until proven otherwise. Looking at gold futures, Gold right now showing a little bit of strength. We've seen that compression right here play out. We were looking for a failed new low the next day, and we got one. Not quite an upside break right away, but we've gotten a slow and steady push to the upside out of that compression. But we're still overall in this larger compression here. We went ahead and quantified these various lengths of compression for gold here. If you're just looking at this bit right here, 115 points of range could be seen. If you're looking at that bigger bit there, 2 weeks, you're looking at about 150 points. If you look at the whole year, rather the monthly compression here, then this thing is pointing you to anywhere between 200 and 300 points of expansion ahead over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So can we finally get a full-on transition day out of this range, because it could lead to 200 to 300 points over the next several weeks. And again, upward bias still in full effect. Looking at the YM, the YM down about 0.1% right now. Inside day, very compressed here, 40% of ADR, only 300 points of range with a downward bias. Any pullback in the YM continues to be a selling opportunity until proven otherwise as well. And we continue to easily reach our next downside targets. Especially, we mentioned when we were still up here, 44.6, that if we break 44K, it opens up 42 and 43. And those two targets reach very, very quickly. And you can see now we've just come within 47 points of hitting 41,000. So we've made a massive move to the downside. We're within this range here. Do we start to see some sort of semblance of a low? Because we've taken out major pivot lows now. Do we start to see a trap at the extreme and a reversal at some point? Again, that's the potential here. With all these massive corrections, we're going to have some great deep discounts, undervalued situations here, but at the same time, can't really press go until you get that strong low. All right, looking at Bitcoin here, let's bring Bitcoin up. Right there, Bitcoin down nearly 0.2%. This one has seen compression here as well. 31% of ADR, super compressed, narrow range day. On a little bit of a pullback, but clearly this one continues to see higher or downside rotations with lower lows, lower highs. And are we building another lower high here? So again, this one can't get out of its own way just yet. Still finding or trying to find a semblance of support and some lows, especially near the 200-day moving average. But again, testing the big 75K level, very, very important here. If it fails to hold that level, 50K theoretically could be in play. Looking at ETH, ironically, this one is up 0.2%. But again, very bearish overall. Any bounce still remains a selling opportunity. Are we headed to 1600 in this one? A failure at the 2200 market structure points the way to 1600. We got a low at 17,555 or 55 half. Inside day, double inside day, compression here within a very bearish downward trend. Any failed new high here opens the door to another rotation down. Very similar to that one or this one. Any of these here, failed new highs, downward continuation. 1600 may be in play for ETH here at these levels. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.